There is no such thing as a banana tree.
I see your bananas aren't a tree and raise you, there's no such thing as trees. And this isn't like when people say birds aren't real. I'm not trying to convince you that this is a hollowed out spy apparatus for the US government or anything. See, if you ask most people to define what a tree is, they would say something along the lines of a tall plant with wood, bark, branches, a single trunk. Seriously, many working legal definitions for tree, including this one from England, is literally just anything that ordinarily one would call a tree. Those characteristics aren't actually all that evolutionarily related. All those organisms we call trees don't have a common ancestor the same way that like all great apes do. We can see where humans branched off from other apes. We can even see where apples branched off from the rest of the rose family. But you can't see that for trees because trees never did. We just call them all trees because they have similar characteristics. It'd be the same as calling all of these birds because they can fly. Or like calling dolphins a fish. And whether or not fish is real is a whole other topic. To be fair, the Bible does classify bats as birds, so it's not like nobody's ever done that before. This is a horse chestnut. This is a sweet chestnut. Despite the name and looking very close to each other, that horse chestnut is more closely related to broccoli than it is to that sweet chestnut. And most evergreen trees are less related to deciduous trees than I am to a tuna. I'm also more closely related to that tuna than that tuna is to a shark. And that shark has been around longer than trees have. Then, you know, everybody generally agrees that willows are trees. But what about this species of willow? It has woody stems, and it can live to be almost 100 years old. And everybody agrees that willows are trees, so is this a tree? What about when you bonsai a tree so it's not tall anymore? Is that still a tree? Also, we think of bamboo as trees, but it's not really. There's no inner heartwood. They're more closely related to grass. Doesn't have any bark. Then we have the issue of shrubs. We don't think of shrubs as trees because instead of one trunk, they have many. But then you have pando, quaking aspens out in the southwestern United States. These look like just a stand of a bunch of single trees, but they're not. They're all one organism. It's a giant set of roots, one of the largest organisms in the world that sends out a bunch of different shoots. These are considered trees, but shrubs are not. And you've got your mulberries, and anybody who's ever tried to get rid of one of these by hacking it down, people know that when you do that, this just comes back up and starts a bunch of new trees with different trunks. But it's definitely a tree. Then we've got cactus trees, which don't fit any other part of our already bad definition. And also, most cactuses aren't related to each other either. That's a whole nother tangent. Palm trees? No wood or bark. This is more closely related to grass than any other tree. Trees are more like crabs. It's just so useful to take on those shapes that multiple creatures have done it. It's called convergent evolution. Just in the Canary Islands, we have evidence of wood evolving completely independently 38 separate times. On top of that, we've done laboratory testing where we've taken an herbaceous plant like rock cress and we knocked out a few of the genes that control flower development, and then we gave them light settings to mimic the summer. And guess what? That herbaceous plant started developing a woody trunk like a tree.